So where I've connected to the collective energy today, all I can see is a brown teddy bear. This teddy is significant. So you may be doing that. This may be linking to inner child work. There's something to do with this teddy bear. The teddy bear feels significant to me. It's a brown teddy, but it could be linking to the name. It could be a link to the name Teddy. So something about that is going to be significant. And if you are part of this collective, that will immediately make sense to you. So if it doesn't make sense to you and you don't have any link to this, it's likely you're not a part of this collective. Right. I'm starting with my Mystic Forest Oracle deck today, which is unusual. I don't normally start with this deck. So there may be a message in here that you're needing to hear. So let's see what's going on. What's around my collective's energy at the moment, please? Something, all I can see is this teddy bear. There's something about inner child work. We'll switch to the shadow deck after this. But let's see. Right, there's something here about living in the present moment. So you might be reminiscing on things from the past a little bit. And you're being called to live in the present moment and focus on what you already have. Focus on the things that you have in your life at the moment that you're able to be grateful for. So you might be sat in a bit of a heavy energy at the moment. You're also being told to raise the bar. So this is interesting to me. So you may have had people around you that have not quite been meeting the standards really that is acceptable for you. So this is about raising the bar. When you set higher standards for the people and situations in your life, you create space for new levels of joy and abundance. Rise above the old patterns. But it's also about understanding that like attracts like, and so whatever vibration you're putting out, you're receiving people, like you're receiving back the same vibration. So you're going to have people coming towards you that are of that vibration. So if you raise the bar and your standards, you raise the quality of people that are coming towards you. Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of doors that are opening for you. I think you've been through a bit of a difficult situation, and I think you might be a bit frozen because you're being told to act. So take the first step, watch how the path unfolds. Whatever your path reveals, you're ready for. The doors are open for you, but you need to take the steps to walk through them. I think you might pursue happiness. I think you might be sat in a bit of a low energy. So you're being reminded to embrace, yeah. So it's about stepping back onto your heart path. I think something has happened that has hurt you emotionally, and that's why you're being called to be grateful for what you have. Like, focus on the positive things that are around you at the moment. Raise your standards so you get better people coming towards you. Like, the door is open, it's ready for you to walk through, but until you take these steps, until you take action, it's not going to come towards you. Why focus on limitations and realism? Breakthroughs and miracles require no linear explanation or method. Magic happens every day, but it's about believing that. When you start to believe in and see the magic around you, your life, your whole world just starts to turn into this magical sort of place where you're just surrounded by magic all the time. Literally, as I was saying, clarifying the raise the bar is authenticity attracts. So like attracts like. So be your authentic self. Being authentic attracts the right people and repels the wrong ones. When you stay true, you naturally filter out those who don't align with your path, because you will attract people in that are on the same vibration as you. That's science. whatever vibration you're putting out is what you receive back. So raise that bar if you're wanting a better quality of people like around you, the way you're being treated. And you're slowing this down at the moment with your hesitation, with your worry. So this situation might have left you a little bit hesitant to move forward. It's about keeping the faith and creating light in the dark. The path of the stars is made by the same energy. But I feel like you're slightly hesitant to move forward now, so you're in a bit of a pause. And I think you might be someone that's on a bit of a spiritual journey as well, especially with these two cards coming out. So you're somebody that's very unique, and you're on a bit of a unique path. You're one of a kind. From the moment you emerged into this world, you had extraordinary talents. You understand starlight, animal voices, and all things magical. So don't dull your sparkle, I'm being told. I'm being told you're almost dulling yourself down to fit into these people's perceptions of what they want you to be. And it's about letting go of those negative people and their negative beliefs, because they're holding you back. And the pause that you're in at the moment is the shift. This is what's going to push you forward. If you can let go of those limiting beliefs. Let's check shadows here, because there's something about that bear. There's something that's been hiding here, I believe, since you were a child. That is potentially being triggered at the moment. I'm just going to check these ones, and then we will check the numerology deck as well. Right, what shadows am I collecting meanings to release, please? What are they working through? No, he's not wanting to come out. Shadows are not wanting to be revealed. Yes, literally, as I said, it's about breaking down these mental chains. It's about breaking down those old belief systems and rewriting it's about rewriting those lessons, those mental chains. It's about breaking those down. But this is such a difficult thing to do, because you're reworking things back to your childhood. So from the ages of about 3 and 4, everything that's happening around us, the things we're being taught, the things we're seeing through society, through our parents, it's shaping you. It's shaping you into the person you're growing into. It is creating all these belief systems. And sometimes, unfortunately, they're not the right belief systems. And we're not taught in the best ways. So we, as adults, sometimes we need to go back and rewrite those for ourselves, reparent ourselves up to that point. But it's a really difficult thing to do. And you do have this fear of failure here. So you are worried. So you are holding yourself back, I think, because you don't want to make mistakes. But you're being called to connect with your ancestors and your guides. Their wisdom will illuminate your healing path. And with this fear of failure as well, you then have a very strong inner critic. So you're someone that's being incredibly critical of themselves, when in reality, these are lessons that you've been taught as a child, which was obviously out of your control. And so this is now entering slightly into the energy of self-sabotage, where you're just so critical of yourself all the time. You're sabotaging anything good that comes towards you. So there's unexpressed grief here as well. So there may be grief that you experience that you just didn't process properly. And suppressed sorrow can manifest in very unexpected ways. When we hold on to energies like this, emotions like this, it can manifest as physical illnesses within your body. And I speak about this from experience. So I lost one of my very close friends 11 years ago, and not processing that grief properly and allowing it to store in my body left me with an autoimmune disease, which has caused me a lot of problems since then. I'm still dealing with problems from it now. So the knock-on effect that that can have onto your life and onto your health is huge, huge. So it's so important that we process these emotions and release them from our body. And underneath the breaking mental change, you've now got breaking karmic cycles. So you may have just experienced some kind of karmic cycle that has come in to highlight what these mental chains are to you. So this might be why this is such a difficult situation and why it's left you feeling quite so stuck and fearful to move forward. Oh, that's too many. But these patterns, these cycles were needing to be broken down in order for you to be able to move forward. And you really need to surrender to this change and stop allowing the fear of making mistakes, the fear of failure to hold you back. Surrender to the journey that you're being taken on. What parts of yourself have you neglected? What is your soul calling for? What do you crave a deeper connection in? Also, this is clarifying the inner critic. So I feel like maybe you're quite critical about what it is that you want from life. I don't know whether you've got people around you telling you that that's not right. And then where you self-sabotage things, you then end up sitting in this prison of regret. So it's like you're aware, you know that you self-sabotage it, but you can't stop yourself from doing that. And so then you sit heavily in regret of like, what have I done? Why did I do that? We've got abandonment wounds on the bottom of the deck here. I'm just going to get a few more from this deck. So you may be somebody that suffers from abandonment wounds. That might be, I'm seeing that teddy bear again. This might be something that has come from this might be what's coming from your childhood. Maybe one of your parents was quite absent, or both parents were absent as a child. And so you have very strong abandonment wounds that have carried through into your adult lifetime, which is likely repeating now through relationships. And it's creating codependency. So where you're so fearful of being left, of being abandoned. Okay, what I'm hearing now is everybody always leaves. That's what I'm hearing. So you've obviously gone through, that's really pulled at my heart. I'm so sorry. You've obviously gone through a lifetime where you've experienced a lot of loss, be that through family members leaving, and then friendships, and then potentially as you got older, relationships, but you've experienced a lot of loss. People always leave. That's what I can hear. And that has created codependency patterns for you. That's one of the mental, yeah, and here with the abandonment wounds, the abandonment's echo. So this is one of the cycles. So you're likely closing down a huge, huge karmic cycle at the moment. that has been playing out for you since you were a child. And it's this abandonment wound. But what I'm being told is it's much more complex than that. It's not just an abandonment wound. There's a lot of complexities to it. So again, if you're part of this collective where you're understanding the reference of the teddy bear, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about with the complexities. So it's not just a simple... sorry, that's disrespectful. Not that an abandonment wound is ever simple, but for some reason, there's a lot more complexities to this. What I'm seeing is that knot card that's in my deck that's over there. I'll get that in a minute. But there's something about interconnectedness. But there's a lot of depth to this abandonment wound. So this is not an easy cycle to close down. And emotionally and energetically, this is going to be hugely draining for you. Interestingly, I'm seeing the colour light blue now, literally like the colour of my nails. So there's something to do with this colour blue that would be very healing for you. I think it's what is that crystal called? I think it's called Angelite. Any crystals that are a really light blue, like a baby blue, like this sort of colour, would be very healing for you to carry at the moment, I'm being told. Angelite and aura quartz, I'm being told, would be very beneficial for you at the moment. I don't know loads about crystals, so I don't even know if they're healing crystals, but there's something about those two, Angelite and aura quartz, that would be helpful for you at the moment. Now, your inner critic here, you need to start changing the way you're speaking to yourself. At the moment, you're narrating your life through a lens of limitation. That needs to shift. And you need to start speaking to yourself in a much more positive way. And you need to speak to your inner child out loud. Speak to them. It will be healing for you. Talk to them like they're an external person. And where you're entering into this self-sabotage and then you're sitting in this prison of regret, this can turn into anger for you. So anger is a teacher, not an enemy. Explore its roots rather than suppressing it. So again, I think you try and keep all of that in, the regret, the anger that comes up. Then you're narrating your life with this negative lens because of your inner critic. When in reality, you're trying to close down a cycle that has been playing out for you since you were a small child. And you had no control over what happened to you at that stage in your life that has created this mental prison for you, this chain. And you need to be a lot kinder to yourself. This is a big cycle that you're closing out currently, really big. Right, let's get some more details for you, although this has been quite specific so far, so you should know, you should be aware as to whether this reading is for you, but let's see what's around your current energy, because that's taken us quite far back into the past. I'm going to check those numerology cards in a bit, but I just want to see what's around your current energy, like what's the current energy that you're sat in. Right, what's around my collective's energy currently, please, especially their heart space. Let's see what it is here, because something will have come up recently to trigger this lesson for you, to trigger closing out this cycle, and it likely would have been extremely triggering for you. They're giving me a lot of information for you today. Cleansing. Water is very cleansing for you. Water is very cleansing to you. I can see a waterfall. So again, I don't know whether that's a detail for you. Okay, so it seems, I mean, I've got confessions on the bottom of the deck, and the first card out is an apology. So there's obviously some kind of situation that you've just been through for there to be a need for an apology. But this is about forgiveness, a return. So you've been through some kind of emotional storm recently. So things are likely feeling very, very chaotic for you. But there's an apology. I need to clarify this because the apology is in your, that's in your mind. So you may have already received that. You may have already had somebody reach out with some kind of apology. Oh. But you feel very trapped by this situation. So it's left you feeling very trapped. It might be because you've slipped into that prison of regret. And I think you feel very conflicted about this situation. And it's left you just feeling very overwhelmed, confused. You're in this heart fog. Let's clarify these. Oh. Okay. I think you have already received the apology because it's at that point you've slipped into thinking about possibilities. About the risk, the possibilities here. But emotionally, you're still sat in sorrow. So mentally, you're thinking about things, you're processing things, you're thinking about the apology, you're wondering potentially what possibilities that could bring, whether it's plausible to try and fix this situation. But emotionally, this has affected you deeply, which again just shows the abandonment wound, shows the cycle there. That even if mentally you're able to shift your perspective a little bit and think about things, think about what this could possibly mean, emotionally, you're just sat in this heavy, heavy energy of sorrow, of grief, depression. You've been really affected by this and it's left you feeling really unstable. It's created a huge emotional storm for you. Which is why I think you probably feel so stuck. Hear my washing machine's just gone so loud as well as the cycles. But so you, okay, so you are, where you feel trapped, you have now started to turn and focus on yourself a little bit. So you're trying to find growth, you're trying to nourish yourself. But again, the abandonment wound is just placing in a block. So energetically, that abandonment wound is blocking you from moving forward. And I think that's why you feel so conflicted, because you're toing and froing between this. Between, oh, but maybe there's a chance for us. Maybe there could be a possibility for us to be able to work things out. And then your abandonment wounds are triggered. So then you're like, no, I can't be with somebody that does this to me. So then I think you're conflicted between what to do, between your choices. You don't know what to do. You're sat on this apology, I think, thinking, what should I do? but we'll keep digging. I think you've received the apology. And so now you're sat in the energy of stress because you're worried about making the wrong choice again, where you're putting that pressure on yourself. So where they've come forward with this apology, it's pushed the ball into your court. So now it's your choice to make. And that's putting a lot of stress on you because you're so conflicted and you're sat in this heart fog. You can't see, your emotions are blocked. You can't see the situation clearly because of your trauma, your abandonment wounds. But you are thinking about reconciliation now. So emotionally, you've slipped into a stage of thinking as well, of trying to process this second chance. But that, I mean, depending on what happened within the connection, that's the codependency coming through, where you're leaning into going back towards them because that's what feels safer to you. That's too many. It's going to feel more comfortable, more easy for you to go back to this person than to push through by yourself. Okay, you are starting to become more self-aware. You are. So that's really good. So where you've started to nourish and focus more on yourself and focus on your growth, you are starting to have more self-awareness and the importance of being focused on yourself. And you are, okay, so this has taken a bit of a turn even in this row. So even though you were thinking about the second chance and you were contemplating that, I think you are starting to understand that you need to release this situation and let it go to be able to move forward. I think you're becoming more aware of your abandonment wounds and that you need to release this situation. But this is, but I think that's almost creating a block for you because you know what you need to do, but I think you don't want to take the steps to do that. So now you've slipped into hopeless energy. Because this situation is going to be so triggering for you. Let's find out what actually happened. I need to know the details of the relationship to see whether it's a good thing to go to reconnect or not. Because not every relationship is terrible and then means that it's terrible to reconnect with that person. That's not always the case. I mean, it tends to be a lot of what I pick up on because people that are in super happy relationships don't tend to need the advice, the guidance. So that's why there tends to be quite a theme within my readings, and through the collective energy at the moment as well. There's so many groups of people that are going through such similar stuff. That's why it's so important to pay attention to the specific details within the readings, and that's why I try and give so many details so that you know if it's for you. Right, please tell me about this relationship. What was the connection like when they were together? Oh, that's too many. I mean, straight away, we've got the lightning. Sudden change, shocking news, upheaval,